We've had a fascinating discussion today about the east of the United Kingdom and why it is doing so well economically. And it comes down to the infrastructure, the transport infrastructure above all, that provides the connectivity between the different parts of the UK and indeed to our export markets internationally that are at the heart of that economic success. And the fact that growth is doing so well, employment rising so fast in those parts of the UK. Welcome to the IOD. Probably the greatest strength of the IOD is its network of regions and branches. And some of the most exciting elements of the economic upturn are actually emerging far outside London. So it's a really encouraging story, but of course it throws up other questions. But I suppose first of all I'd really like to talk about the current business climate.
We're in the business of bottled water. That's the core business. And I joined the business in 1985, and you saw growth of 40-50% in some of the following years. It was quite amazing as the market developed and evolved and people understood the benefits of bottled water. However, of course, that matures and slows down. And the last time we had double-digit growth was just at the beginning of the millennium, really, 2002, 2003. However, the last 2 years, it's been back to double-digit growth. The market is quite incredible.
And you don't need to be based in London.
Our business started in Leeds, but our most profitable studio is now in London, because you need to be where the hubs are.
We've got a junior end, and operating out of Newcastle, we had double-digit revenue growth last year, and that reflects what our clients are doing. And from a North East perspective, unemployment remains stubbornly high, and I think it's probably the highest in the country. But employment is booming. There's more jobs in the North East currently than there ever has been.
One thing that I'm always fascinated in is the mid-sector and the number of mid-sector companies that are really booming now.
So our regional business has gone from about 140 million to 180 million in the last 3 years. And that's predominantly on growth on mid-sized businesses. So the capital investment in people and equipment in that period has been at its highest in that mid-corporate space. And where is the growth coming from? It's export markets. And it does bring us back to the connectivity piece and to international markets.
The most fascinating aspect about this morning's discussion was the general agreement that we need to make sure we have decent infrastructure. Not just connectivity to London, but connectivity throughout all the regions. And infrastructure is something that only government can deliver. And that's something that everybody wants them to do, but do it on a long-term scale.
It's tough for the very small companies at the moment, for the startups like ourselves. We're out in the provinces for sure, but I'm in London 2 or 3 times a week. We're also doing some international franchising, so we've just signed a master franchise with Canada. But getting international people to come out of London is quite tough, actually. They want to know that you've got a presence in London.
Peter, could I ask you both about how East Coast trains are doing, but could you also reflect on this connectivity issue and what changes you've seen over the last couple of years?
Compared to a lot of businesses, we're doing well at the moment. I'd love the double-digit growth that some people refer to, but we're growing around about 5%. To get that 5% growth, we have to be so active. There are so many different dynamics to our business in terms of regions, customer types, product types. Everyone says the same. We want more trains stopping at our stations. But the problem is there's always going to be a trade-off, because the more we do that, then the less well we're going to serve the major cities. The big win is to actually improve the level of service we provide to the big cities, so Leeds, York, Newcastle and Edinburgh.
What do you as users, as business people, need from a train service, and what are you getting?
It does work out very cost effectively if we would use it far more, if there was proper lounges or proper showers and things at the other end. That's what would make the difference, because the cost of a flight and the cost of a hotel compared to the cost of a train.
And the only thing is I get frustrated is Wi-Fi and those kinds of availability. Comes and goes, it's not strong, you end up using your own kind of network. But you can work.
It's really interesting, both those points actually, because in terms of Wi-Fi, we've actually just invested £2 million in upgrading our Wi-Fi. I thought it was very interesting and also very enjoyable, a good quality discussion. Some of it sort of focusing very sort of parochially on the rail market and connectivity, and also some broader conversations about local government, investment, business growth, opportunities. So really, really interesting.
What about the international link?
I think this is a major issue. If we really want to have proper policy in the UK that's going to help regional economies grow, then frankly Manchester would be the obvious conurbation for me, but that connectivity to Shanghai and Singapore
very true.
and California in one flight is actually really important to me.
And with that connectivity, there's a lot of businesses that might be based in the North East, but a large part of the business or sales potential is in London. That's why the connectivity in the East Coast is so important.
Do you talk? Do you talk to the airlines or do you talk to the airports and stuff?
No, we tend to be quite separate
Yeah.
because we regard ourselves as by and large competing with them.
But maybe you should join the Star Alliance network. Because that would be really cool, wouldn't it? As if East Coast Trains became a Star Alliance partner.
Generally, I just thought it was very interesting, conversation, speaking to fellow people operating in business and understanding some of the challenges they're currently facing and also some of the successes they're having too.
The question of London and sort of London getting bigger, but is that right? What's the relationship?
I think for the rest of my working career, London will continue to grow and to dominate.
I think there are just certain other hubs around the UK where some good government policy now would give them a great advantage going forward. It's back to the connectivity.
When you're in engineering and manufacturing space, we don't do anything in London.
Yeah.
London's irrelevant to us. We avoid London, we go around London, but there's nothing ever in the heart. Everything feeds into London, but we don't come into London itself.
Everything goes back to this theme of connectivity, both internal and international. Peter, thank you very much.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for bringing us together.
Thank you.
Thank you.